Donald Trump back in Michigan yesterday. His first appearance since the second assassination attempt this past weekend at Trump International Golf Club in Palm Beach. He went to Flint, Michigan, a focus of political failures dating back several decades, depending on who you ask. A place that was once a proud General Motors town, still has a GM presence, but not the way it was a few years ago. And Trump said if he doesn't win in November, the auto industry, the backbone of Michigan and America, will be destroyed by Kamala Harris and her minions and misguided Green New Deal policies. Here's part of what he said.
We are going to bring so many auto plants into our country. You're going to be as big or bigger than you were 50 years ago because they won't be able, if they're not willing to build a plant, we don't want their product. And that's enough. That's all I wanted. And it'll happen fast. It'll happen very fast.
I think it's safe to say that Michigan is happy that you're going to be president again.
It was quite an event, and I was standing right there. It was very intimate. I was no more than about 50 or 60 feet from the president. We were right there, a lot closer than you would be for a rally. And as you can see, the crowd very receptive to his message. And look, is he going to win Flint? Is he going to win Genesee County? Well, I'll tell you, if he wins Genesee County, he wins Michigan. Now I'll get back to much more from Flint in the town hall, but what was clear last night, and it's clear all over America, is what people are concerned with. What they're worried about is the economy, and that's what he was talking about. It's the top concern for voters all over America. Every single poll says the same thing. The number one issue in this election is the economy. But that's not entirely right. The biggest issue in this election is just how bad the economy has become under the Biden-Harris administration. The worst part, of course, is inflation, or maybe a better way to put it, according to one of the listeners here, is the devaluation of your money. The devaluation of your money. A dollar isn't what it used to be. What does a dollar buy anymore? Here's President Trump very clearly and briefly describing why last week during the debate against Kamala Harris, why it's so bad. Listen.
It's because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums.
Now, we'll get another reminder of that inflation problem today when the Federal Reserve is expected to cut rates at least a quarter of a point, maybe a half. That might bring down mortgage rates a bit, should. But they're still sky high compared to when President Trump left office. It was 2.25%. The average 30-year mortgage, 2.25% in January of 2021. But everything's gone up. The price of food, everything else we need has skyrocketed under Biden-Harris. So yeah, Fed Chair Jay Powell will lower those rates maybe as much as a half point today and say inflation is getting under control. But here's the thing. It's not under control. And to be fair to good old Jay Powell, it's not his fault. It's Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's fault because inflation is mostly caused by government spending. And Biden-Harris have spent more money than any administration before them. The so-called Inflation Reduction Act was actually just a massive spending bill aimed at Green New Deal pet projects, and it jacked up inflation in America. They're trying to reel it in now from the problem that they created, and despite that, Kamala Harris has the gall, or the stupidity, maybe more likely, to boast that she cast the tie-breaking vote to pass that monstrosity. Listen.
2 years ago, as vice president, I was proud to cast the tie-breaking vote that sent the bill that gave Medicare the power to negotiate and let it get to the president's desk. And I was proud when our president, Joe Biden, signed that bill into law. Yeah,
what a disaster. And here's the thing the Democrats know. Those economic policies are a disaster. That's why they keep trying to package Kamala Harris as if she's a brand new entity, a new candidate, a new way forward. No connection to the current mess. She is the current mess. And that's why the new catchphrase Democrats keep using is turn the page. As in turn the page on the president, which is their fault. Their fault. Here's the nauseating and condescending Gwen Waltz, wife of Tim Waltz, treating rallygoers like small children to help them remember this bogus slogan. If you haven't seen this, I hope you're not in the middle of your breakfast. Sorry if you are, but, well, here it is.
But I kind of liked it when she did this. Turn the page. You like that? Okay, so I need you to be with me and practice with me. What are we going to do? We're going to turn the page. Oh, pretty good. Do it again. We're going to turn the page. And we're going to turn the page. All right, so I'm going to be watching you.
Wow. It's quite something, isn't it? You know, if he weren't so senile, I wonder what Joe Biden would think about all this turn the page stuff. Kind of insulting, Joe. You're so bad, Joe. We're going to turn the page on you, Joe. We're going to wave goodbye to you, Joe. We're going to turn the page on you. I mean, who are these imbeciles? They're not even denying just how bad the last 4 years have been. It's time to turn the page. We agree, by the way. We agree. And at the same time, the regime news media is pretending like Kamala Harris is a new option. She's not. She's also not proposing anything new or any new ideas of her own. Nothing. Donald Trump seems to have new policy ideas every single day. Last night he said, if you import something into America and there's a tax or an import tax in your country on the same product, we're going to make it reciprocal. Every product is lined up that way, bam, bam, bam. We're going to do the same thing back to you. You know what's going to happen to those taxes and tariffs? They're going to disappear. Donald Trump says no tax on overtime, which, by the way, at Flynn, I talked to people, they thought that was great. No tax on Social Security. And, of course, Kamala stole his no tax on tips. We'll get to that because I'm just getting warmed up here today. Nice to see you, by the way. It's the Steve Gruber Show. I'll take a quick break, warm up my coffee. You do the same. We'll be right back.